Welcome to Arduino for Beginners, episode 34, using processing to control your Arduino. Now in this tutorial, I'm just going to go through some basics on the processing because I am starting a separate series from Learning Arduino that it's going to be about a dozen or so episodes, and it's going to concentrate just on using processing with your Arduino, and we'll cover things like buttons, sliders, knobs, how to use those, how to use it Bluetooth so you don't have to have the cable connected to your PC to do this. And then we'll probably get into, you can also use processing with your Arduino, and we'll get into that a little bit too in that series. So stay tuned to the end of the video, and once I get those videos started getting them up, I will have a link at the end of the video, and if I remember, I'll put it in the description below as well. So, well, let's just get started. The first thing you're going to need is you're going to need processing. And the nice thing about processing is the language is almost identical to the type of language you use in the Arduino IDE. So this is going to be real easy to pick up as long as you know some of the basics for Arduino. So what you're going to need to do is go to processing.org, processing.org. And this is the page that will come up right here. And you just go to download. And right here you can get this for Windows in 32 or 64-bit. You can get it for Linux, and you can get it for your Mac. So just choose which one you need and download it. Now I already have it downloaded, so I don't need to sit and wait for that. But you'll open, once you get it downloaded, you'll open it up, and it'll bring up a window like this. Now this will be blank in here. This is actually the sketch we're going to be using to control. I have an LED set up for your LED that's on pin 13 and your Unos and Nanos and whatnot. So we'll get into it in a minute if you're using a different pin. Well, actually, when we get over to the Arduino IDE, we'll get into that. For this, though, once you get this brought up, the first thing you're going to need is there's a library that we're going to be using for this, all of these, for putting the knobs and buttons and sliders and such, and it's called the Control P5. Now to get this, you go into, what was it, Sketch, yep, right here under Sketch, and you go to Import Library, you click Add Library, and it's going to bring this up right here. And I already have it typed in here, Control P5. This will be blank. You'll just type in Control P5 and it'll bring this up, and you click on it and download that library. Now, once again, I already have this downloaded, so I don't need to. Now, that's the only library we're going to need to download. The processing.serial library right here is already included in the processing, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, like I said, I'm just going to go into some basics on this. I'm not going to go through everything, how it's set up. This is just to show you a basic sketch for turning LED off and on, and you can go ahead and copy and paste this in and try it out. And then if you're going to proceed, just check out my other video series where I'm going to go into this in depth. So for this one, we're just using the buttons, and we got actually two buttons, and I'll show you what it looks like here. I'll just click the run. It'll take a moment. Okay, that's right. I don't have the Arduino actually connected at the second. So I'm going to go ahead and stop that. What it will have is there'll be two little buttons here, and one will say on and one will say off. Sorry, I forgot to plug the Arduino in. I'm not going to pause this to show you. Like I said, just check out actually the first tutorial in the using processing with Arduino will be going through this particular sketch in depth. So if you want to see that, just check that one out. All right, I just got to close that out. All right, now we are going to be using cable to connect to the computer. You're going to use your USB cable. Now also, like I said, you can do this with Bluetooth, but we're not going to get into that because this is a very beginner's tutorial. So you're going to need to set your COM port. Now what you do is the same COM port you got set up for uploading your Arduino sketch. You're going to type that in here, and I'm using COM 3. So I have here, if you're using COM 5, just change that to a 5. If you're using Mac or Linux, it'll be something different. Hopefully you know how to do that. I don't use either. I'm using PC with Windows, so we're just using the COM. With that, there's nothing else you're going to want to change in the sketch. What you do is just look in the description below and you'll find a link to the website. You can go there and copy that and just paste it in. Just make sure you do get your library. And like I said, we will go through how this all actually works in the first episode of using processing with Arduino. So with that, there's nothing else we need to go through on here. So just remember, set your COM port. And make sure your baud rate is the same as what you have selected with your Arduino, your serial begin. I'm using a 9600. If you use a different one, just make sure that both in processing and Arduino you have them set the same. All right, with that, let's go over to the Arduino sketch. Now, all right, now as you can see, there's not a whole lot to this. Now, because we're only using one pin, I didn't go ahead and do the integer or define, pin 13 and call it LED. I just, to simplify, I just went pin mode and I used the pin we're using. I'm using the onboard LED for this tutorial, and that's 13, so I just set it as the output. Then here's our serial begin. Like I said, just make sure your processing and Arduino match. Then down here in the void loop, we're just checking if serial data is available. It reads it, and we're just sending, actually I'll show you that here. Down here in the two voids for when the button on, button off button is pushed, we're just doing a port right here. To turn it on, we're sending a number 1. Turn it off, we're sending number 2. So of course in the Arduino IDE, if value equals 1, and that's our integer here, we're setting and we're bringing the serial data then we received in. So if it's a 1, we're writing the pin 13 high. If the value is a 2, we're writing it low. That's all there is to it. Simple and easy. I'm sorry I forgot to plug the Arduino in when I started this tutorial. What I'll do is I will, I'm done filming, I'll take a screenshot of it, I'll plug it in, and I'll take a screenshot of the button and I'll bring it up right here, the little program that will run. One thing to remember before I forget when you're doing this, if you are running the processing sketch and you try to upload your Arduino sketch while this is running, it won't work. Processing can be open, but you don't want to be running it. If you're trying it out, it's not working, and then you're going to go and upload something to Arduino, you're just going to want to click this little stop button right here and stop the program running. Then you can go ahead and upload your Arduino sketch. Alright, I think I covered everything for just the basics. Like I said, this is just to get you started and show it to you. And in episode number 1, you'll find a link to that here at the end of the video once again, and look in the description below. You can go ahead and I will go through and I'll go through what all these different settings are and for how you put the buttons and set the screen size and all that. It's not that difficult. But I figured I'd do that as a separate video. I just, this is part of my Learning Arduino for Beginners series, and I just wanted to introduce you to processing here and let you decide if you want to go further with it. So, all right, well, I think we'll go ahead and wrap this up. So I would like to thank you for joining us here at the Z-Hut today. If you found this information useful, please give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it big time. Don't forget to subscribe, and remember, have fun building.